back to do the top this week. If you missed it last week, we made the pants. So look for the iCard or the link in the description if you want to go make these pants. They were super simple and fast, easily a one-day project. So, and then the top is going to be the same way. Let me show you the fabrics that I'm going to use. When I saw this pattern, I thought this view with the two colors would be so cute to do just like a simple print or something on one side and then the rest be solid. You could, of course, switch it. And then I saw this. Look at this. And I thought, okay, I love it. This is what we're going to do. It's going to be awesome. I got it. And I ordered fabric to go with it. The fabric doesn't match. If you look, see that's rusty colored. I thought it was burgundy. It's not. So I ordered a burgundy to go with it. They don't look good together. And the weights are not the same. This is a very heavy weight. It doesn't stretch a lot. So then I ordered a second fabric as a backup, which was a rib knit. Get close so you see the ribbing. Super, super lightweight. Again, the weights don't go together, though the colors are okay. So that's not going to do it. The good thing is I order things that I know I will wear and use again. So even though they're not going in this project, they will get sewn. So I decided, you know what? I may not be able to use this at all for this project. This may have to become its own thing. And I think I will make it just a top of its own. I love it. So cute. So then I went back and I ordered a gray that matches my burgundy. So we're going to do gray and burgundy after all the process of trying to find my fabric. I think I'm going to do just the narrow side burgundy and the main part gray. And I love this fabric. So we're going to go to cut out. It's two pattern pieces. It's like a left and a right. So you have the large side is cut front and back is the same, and then the narrow side front and back is cut the same. So it's going to be a very fast sew together. All right, I'm going to go cut it out. We're going to take our narrow side, which for me is the burgundy, and we're going to sew across the top of the sleeve. The way it's 4 pieces, so you're going to have a seam across the top of your sleeve and an underarm side seam that's all in one, and then we're going to be sewing our narrow side to our wide side. The narrow side has no collar in it. The collar is completely enclosed in the wider side, which for me is the gray side. Because of that, there's a little difference in how this is going to get put together. When I first started, I thought, well, I'll just sew my fronts and my backs to each other, my gray and my burgundy to each other, zip all the way around, hem it, and we're done. But because of the collar and the way it folds over, that's not actually the best way to sew it. So I look at your directions. It's pretty straightforward. They do a very good job of putting it in pictures. Here I am. There are 5/8 inch seam allowance. So if you are serging this, you will be serging off a little bit. Otherwise, go to your sewing machine, set it for a nice narrow zigzag, and zigzag on your 5/8 inch line. So I'm going to put this together, and then I'll show you what to do, because the next thing is really collar issues. All right, step 1 on this is this teeny tiny. Let me find where I even did it. It's so small. Here it is. It's our collar. Step 1 is the collar. You're going to the long edge, and we are doing a teeny tiny 5/8 inch seam. I have a little close up for you right here. So after we do that, it gets folded back on itself like so. Can you see this? So we're opening it up on that little seam, and we're folding it back to the inside like this, okay? Now this, grab a pin, put a couple pins in this. Once we've opened it up like that, we're going to take our part 3, that's this. So we've done step 1 and 2. This is step 3, which is sewing the top of the sleeve on the other side, and we're going to open it up, and this seam is going to match up with this teeny tiny seam like this. All right, so that is step 4. So step 4, it shows the shirt like wide and open, and that's this little part right here. So we're going to be putting these two together, and then you're going to sew this whole long seam up, and then we'll be ready to come back and sew the shoulder seam on the gray side. So if we do this, knits always roll. So it's going to be, here's the small side, here's the large side. It's going to get sewn all the way across. Here's our collar. See, the collar's turned to the inside. Like that. I'm not serging this little raw edge of the collar. You could if you wanted to. I'm going to leave it alone because it makes it smoother on the inside. And I don't need to worry about it. It's so wide that I'm not worried about it rolling up. It's a nice wide piece. So this is what's next. We're going to sew this whole long seam from one end. So we're sewing, it's this seam here. We're going from front to back or back to front all the way around in one fell swoop. So I'm going to sew that next. I'm going to put a few pins in it to make sure everything stays where it belongs. And then we've got a front and a back. All our fronts and backs are together. Now we just have some underarm seams and some shoulder seams. All right, I'll pin together. I'm getting ready to go to the machine, and I'm just going to show you. So this is from the collar side. You can see that the collar's open. Nothing is sewn below on the collar. Okay, this is the sleeve side, or the small side. So we have got the big side and the small side. And we're just going to serge or sew with your small zigzag the whole long seam. Just going to go all the way across. I'm going to sew with the gray side up because of this opening. I just want to be able to see where I'm at. Always start when you're pinning this, start at the seam, where you match the two seams, start at the seam and work each direction. So you pin at your seam and go all the way to the edge of the sleeve where it's sewn together, pin that and then pin in between. It'll keep you from getting stretch or movement in that seam, which will happen woven or knit, but it'll really happen in a knit. So we're going to sew this together and then I'll show you what it is. All right, here it is stitched inside at the collar. That's the other side. And when it's opened up, it's like that. Now it's looking funny to you because I've already started pinning my next step, which is to sew the gray or the large side with the collar. We're going to sew it up. Now, got it mostly pinned. So this is the sleeve. Look at that sleeve. I'm really concerned about how long the sleeve is. It's long. It's fine, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of those where it's too long on me. I'm going to be pushing it up a lot. So we're just going to open up and sew this whole piece. This is the collar. We're just going to sew all the way up into the collar, and then that just folds back. So now we're ready for this step. So we're just going to sew this whole piece. If you're sewing at your sewing machine, if you're not sewing with a serger, again, small zigzag on your 5/8 inch line. That's all it takes. Easy to put together on a sewing machine. If you're serging, then you'll be serging this at your 5/8 inch line. Don't forget, do not stretch, whether you're using your sewing machine or your serger. Do not pull it. Your garment will be stretched out at all of the seams. It won't fit. It's going to look wonky. It'll get waves in it. So you have to be really careful not to stretch it. At the sewing machine, if you have a walking foot or an even feed foot or an even feed little arm that pops down, something like that, engage it for this. It will sure make your life easier. Ta-da! It's a little hard to tell what you're looking at, but this is the inside. Here's our collar. Here's the seam down. So now we're ready to just do these underarm seams. We're going to down that underarm, down this underarm, and it's together. All that will be left after that is the hem of the sleeve and the hem at the bottom. And I'm really debating. I love to do a cover stitch. It just stretches. It looks great. I do not have the perfect color thread, and that's what's making me sort of, I just have one spool. I need 2 spools for the top. So I'm kind of debating back and forth. I'm going to dig through my threads one more time because right now I'm using gray, and you can see it's fine, but it's lighter. And for a top stitch, I'd like it to match better. And here on the burgundy, it just looks like white on the burgundy. So I'd rather have a darker gray, which I do. I have it on my machine back here that I made my tiny little 5/8 inch stitch with. So I don't know. I don't have to make that decision yet. I'm going to go ahead and do the underarms, and then we'll think about it. We have a shirt all put together, and I made a decision about how I'm going to do my hemming. It may be a harebrained idea. We'll see. We'll see how much I hate it. I am going to do the cover stitch on my machine because I just love it. It makes me happy. It looks good. I'm not going to press this. This is all synthetic knit, and it could be steamed. You could press it gently. You could do some things, but I'm just not going to. It's really easy to imprint on this sort of thing. So here's the shirt. Looks like a big block of fabric. So you can see the shape of the garment finished. That's the little neckline and sleeves. And this is after I cut off 4 inches. This is the neckline. So it kind of pulls up sleeve. Isn't that interesting? So this is the crazy thing I'm going to do. If there's two top needles that show when I do my cover stitch, and I'm going to put a burgundy in one and a gray in the other. I know, it may be horrible. We'll see. But I do have a burgundy and a gray. They're neither one perfect. We'll stitch it out and see what I think. If I absolutely despise it, it's not terrible to take it out, and I will. And then I may just go to the sewing machine and put in a plain hem. But first, we're going to try the cover stitch with the 2 threads. Set up for the cover stitch. Let's see how it looks. I'm going to just pin up my hem on my bottom and go all the way around the bottom hem, and we'll see what it looks like. All right, we're hemmed. I have one little thing left to do that I'm going to show you, but let me just show you how this crazy hemming thing worked. All right, so here it is. There's the 2 colors. It looks, on the burgundy, it shows up a lot less than I thought it would. It looks fine. The burgundy looks kind of pinky in the camera, but not in person. Down here and on both sleeves. So we have the sleeve, hem, because the sleeves are 2 different colors. This is the inside. It'll really be easy to see on this burgundy. So I just use the light gray. It's actually attractive even on the inside. So what's left? Everything's done. Got to give it a haircut. But at the collar, we need to fold in the side that's not stitched and stitch it down. So this is how I say do it, to make it invisible. We're going to fold in our 4 inches. 4 inches is what my size is. So I'm going to fold in my 4 inches like this. And you're going to have seam allowance to seam allowance. So on the inside, right here, here's our seam allowances. I'm going to kind of fold back that collar. So here's how it looks. I folded it inside. So the rest is all twisted like this. I'm going to put a pin in it so you can see what I've done. And we're going to just do a little stitch down here on the inside with my sewing machine. I'm just going to go back and forth, do a little stitch to hold it. So this is, I'm going to flip it around now. So here's the collar. Here's the inside. That's where the pin is. So if I flip this around, you can see how I just pinned together those little inside seams. So fold your collar in on itself. And when you do, you can see the 2 seams kind of lay on top of each other. Pinch those seams together, flip it around, and do a quick little stitch, which is what I'm going to do on my sewing machine. And then I'm going to give it a haircut, and I'll show you what it looks like. And I will say, doing the cover stitch, let me just show you real quick. Here, this one's a great example. Doing the cover stitch, I was paying attention, but it's a little hard to see. You've got that great big bit. See how I went off-roading right there? See how that doesn't look really great? Well, I figured out that the front of the foot actually has little markings, and those markings line up with the needles. So if you're careful and you are paying attention, you can actually get that lined up really well. So I went back and fixed it. So I've got to rip out this little stitch right here where I went off-roading. I like it. I think it looks fine. I can live with this stitch. It's a casual shirt. So, all right. I'll do these last few things and then we'll do some final takes. Here's a quick close-up of just doing the inside collar stay stitching. Just to get that collar to stay down. All right, let's look at the fit of this. First of all, I think I mentioned I was really worried about the sleeves being too long. Okay, so not awesome. The fit's fine. It's okay. It's good. You'll notice that in the picture, this collar looks nice and stiff and it kind of stands up. I don't know if it's because I did the plus size and I need it, for the bust and the hip. I don't necessarily need it for the neck and I don't know, do they think if you're plus size, you're also, 8 feet tall? But anyway, I'm going to be cutting off 4-5 inches of these sleeves. And it's too wide, it's too wide of a sleeve to just push up, which I would do, but the sleeve's way too wide for pushing up. It won't stay. So I would say if I had done it in that stiff fabric that I started to, this collar probably would have stood up if I had done the plaid on the collar side, which I wasn't planning on. It's cute. It's fine. I'm sure I'll wear it when I redo the sleeve. Cute. It's fine. I like the idea behind it, but you can see I'm going to show you the collars kind of wide. Let me get my hair out of the way. So that's what the collar looks like. It's very comfy. It's a, it's a knit. What can I say? So I'm going to go ahead and cut the sleeves off and rehem it real quick, take a few pictures, and there you go. All right. I cut off 4 inches. Let me show you. So I cut off 4 inches after hem. So it's like 5 1/4 or 5 1/2 inches total that I cut off the sleeves. That's a lot. And you can see still plenty long. It's plenty wide also, so I can't push it up. I will have to put an elastic in it or take the sleeve in a whole lot to be able to push up the sleeve to keep it up. So my thoughts on this neckline, now that it's done, I've gone back and just looked at the picture. I think because of the grading up for sizing, the neckline is just too wide to do the cute little stand-up thing that is shown on the picture. So if I pull it to the side, you can see I can get it to stand up, but look at how far over that goes. I like it. I will wear it. It does not look like the picture finished in this size. And of course it depends on your fit. If you're real, I don't know how wide a neck you'd have to get this to do